Hello, welcome to our channel and welcome to our new video. Today I am going to tell you the life story of one of our listeners who does not want to share his name with us. Good listening to all of you. Ms. Lily, hello there. As a person who has just turned a year old, I would like to tell you about the events that happened to me in a desperate situation. Thank you in advance. Exactly 10 years ago, I started my working life by washing dishes in an artisan restaurant. My family was a poor, conservative family. Our family, consisting of 4 sisters and my mother and father, was living in Mardin when one day my father took care of our belongings overnight, and we migrated to Istanbul. My father was engaged in farming and animal husbandry in Mardin. My mother was trying to contribute to the household by cleaning houses in the village. Our living conditions were quite difficult. Ms. Lily, we were 4 sisters, 1 year apart in age. I was the youngest. My older sisters were a few years older than me. We all went to the same school, but living conditions were very difficult. We didn't even have shoes to wear to school. Sometimes people from the city helped us. My father could only buy shoes once a year. When we went to school on rainy days, we had to wear bags over our feet so that they wouldn't get wet and worn out. Although my father was very upset about this situation, we were very grateful to him because he was making great efforts to take care of us. After all these financial difficulties, my father took us with him and moved to Istanbul. Everything was extremely difficult at first because we started to live in a ramshackle street, in a night mansion that he could never heat. I was going to start high school. One of my other sisters was studying high school, but my 2 eldest sisters could not go to high school. They had to work because of financial difficulties. Especially Istanbul was much more expensive. Sacrifices had to be made to pay the rent and to live. That's why my sister Emma, who was 2 years older than me, and my sister Mary, who was 3 years older, couldn't go to school because we were able to study. Maria, who was 1 year older than me, and I started high school. Studying here was better than studying in the village, but Maria and I looked and acted very peasant-like. Everyone else looked different with their fancy hairstyles and school uniforms with mini skirts. My parents didn't want us to wear short skirts because we were conservative. In this way, we were the 2 sisters who were ostracized at school. Even though I was doing well in my classes, no one befriended us. On the contrary, they bullied us. I was very frustrated and we had to find a solution and become like them. While Maria and I were looking for a solution, at least I was able to save up my pocket money to buy a nice jacket. Shoes and school-approved accessories and a nice hairstyle could have saved us. Maybe we needed to moonlight for that. My mother started cleaning houses in rich neighborhoods. One day she asked us to come and help her. Since my sisters were working, Maria and I had to go to help. That weekend we went with our mother to clean in a rich neighborhood. The owner was the owner of a company and lived with his wife and children. We were very jealous when we saw their very luxurious and beautiful home. The woman there told us that she could give us clothes that she didn't have for her daughters. Every single one of them was luxury brands and extremely beautiful pieces. That day Maria and I were very happy. We could go to school in nice jackets and pants and make everyone admire us. She said that most of the time they give clothes, accessories, shoes or bags. My other sisters also get something. I had gotten used to these fancy clothes and luxury items, and even though I couldn't get them myself, I liked wearing them and being admired. Maria was more reserved than me and usually tried to restrain me. At school I didn't care much about studies, unlike my sister Maria, who cared about them and studied all the time. But it made more sense for me to have fun and live my youth. I met a few boys from school. I was extremely handsome, but I was just about my age now and the boys were starting to interest me. I was very attracted to one of them. His name was Mark. We were in the same class and he was the first to notice the change in me. He wore a little more mini and came to school wearing makeup. Naturally, boys were more interested in this kind of thing. He was witty and sweet. Mark's interest in flirting with me made me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. We hung out and ate together during recess and even started hanging out together after school, which my sister Maria didn't like very much because, unlike her, I didn't care about classes or school. Moreover, after school I would go home separately from my sister Maria to be alone with Mark. Of course, I did this once and my father got very angry. He told me that we were in a foreign city and I shouldn't return home without my sister. I was annoyed because she was hanging out with Mark after school like boyfriend and girlfriend. We were even kissing. I couldn't do that with Maria by my side and maybe Mark would talk to Maria, whom he had absorbed, and make her manage somehow. I went to Maria at school and told her about it, but she was angry with me and wouldn't listen. She thought I had gone astray. But I told her I wasn't doing anything dangerous. I told her to wait for me at the end of the street on my way home after school, so we could go home together. My mom or dad wouldn't get suspicious. It was hard to convince my sister, who said she couldn't take such a big responsibility. But there was nothing dangerous. Just walking a little slower and finding a secluded corner. If we were kissing, everything was as I wanted it to be. The only problem was that Maria had to wait for me for 10 minutes or sometimes half an hour. One cold Istanbul day my sister got sick waiting like that. She missed a week of school. The next year she barely made the grade. I couldn't concentrate on my studies, it was getting bigger and bigger. It was Maria's last year of high school, and she was preparing for her university exams. We weren't on good terms because I was tired of her being a big sister to me all the time, and my relationship with Mark was going very well. One night, when everyone was asleep, I ran away from home and went to a bar on Mark's motorbike, where I tried alcohol for the first time. I even had sex with Mark for the first time in the bathroom of the bar. After that I became a completely different person. My sister stopped communicating with me completely. We even went home separately, while my mother continued to go to rich people's houses to clean. One weekend we went to clean the house of a new family. As I was walking around the house and helping with the cleaning, a safe in the bedroom caught my eye. It was a very big safe, the news was nice and flashy. Curious, I put some in and watched myself in the mirror. I should be that rich one day. By the way, I had never seen the woman whose house we were cleaning because she was always at work or traveling. The servants would leave the key and leave. I thought of something. While she was traveling, I could take her jewelry from the safe and put it on. And when she came back, I would put it back somehow so that everyone at school would think I was rich and take me more seriously. I also didn't want Mark to think I was poor. He already thought I was rich because we bought my clothes from the houses we cleaned and they were all luxury brands. The rich woman whose house we cleaned had gone to Rome for 2 weeks. The encryption system in the safe was broken. But she didn't care because she was sure no one would buy it. I was going to take it out and wear it during those 2 weeks, and I was going to put it back when I was cleaning again before she came back. After opening the safe, I went through the jewelry and found a beautiful gold necklace with brilliant diamonds on it. I thought it would go with any outfit, even the school uniform. I quickly took the necklace and put it in my pocket. I could only wear it when I was out. I definitely had to catch my mom and sister. When I put the necklace on, for a moment I felt like a completely different person, more flamboyant and more noticeable. Everyone asked where I got it and they thought I was rich. It was as if I had left all my hardships behind and stepped into the rich and glamorous life I had dreamed of. When I had that necklace around my neck, everyone at school was looking at me. Mark seemed to take me more seriously. He was even singing my praises with his friends. At that moment everything seemed fine. But I never thought that this happiness would be so short-lived, because I had done a secret job and I never imagined how it would end. For a week I went to school wearing that necklace and no one understood a thing. I was hiding my neck as I saw Maria and she was trying hard not to see it. It was only when I returned home after school on the second week that I noticed the worry on my mother's face. She was waiting for me at home, furious. As soon as I stepped into the house, she grabbed me by the collar and pinned me against the wall, told me what had happened, and I listened in horror. When he went to the woman's house to clean, he saw that the landlady was agitated and nervous. She realized that jewelry had been stolen from her safe, and immediately reported it to the police. Without knowing what had happened, my mother was facing a huge accusation. When she told me all this, she was furious and asked me if I had stolen it. I told her that I had never done that, but of course I had taken it, but I had never meant it in a bad way. I had to destroy the necklace in my bag, but I had no time to replace it. So I threw it in a bag I found empty at home. They wouldn't look at a shabby bag anyway. I shoved the bag under my sister Maria's bed, so no one suspected her. The next day the police came to the house. They searched everywhere, and the necklace was unexpectedly found. I can never describe the disappointment in my mother's eyes. I didn't know what was going to happen now. When they asked who the bag belonged to, my mother threw herself forward. She did. They took it away, but it didn't take long because the fingerprints taken from the necklace were mine, not my mother's. Neither the police nor the landlord believed me, even though I told them that my intentions were not bad. that I was just going to wear it for a while and give it back. My mother wouldn't even look at me. My father had a heart attack that night from anger and stress. Everyone was with him in the hospital and I was all alone, testifying at the police station and being locked up for the night. I had to confess that I had stolen the jewel. My father was furious and my sisters turned their backs on me completely. The pain in Maria's eyes, Mark's sarcasm, everything just fell apart. Everyone at school knew about it, that I was already ostracized. It became unbearable. When Mark found out who I really was, he left me. The value he gave me was limited to what we wore. During this time, my father recovered from a heart attack. But he was fired from his job, and my mother couldn't clean houses because her wealthy friends heard about it. I had ruined everything. You see, I was very angry with myself for not listening to Maria at the time. She had warned me, but I was blinded by this life of luxury. As if I wanted to be accepted and be like everyone else. Of course she wasn't thrown in jail, but everyone heard about it. I was at rock bottom. My family's situation had deteriorated so much that I had to drop out of school. Because of my mistake, my parents had hit rock bottom once again as they were barely hanging on in Istanbul. My two eldest sisters absolutely rejected me because even though they couldn't study, they continued to work even though they were in a difficult situation. My parents had worked their asses off for their two daughters who were studying. The only child they could get for their efforts was Maria, who got into a good university and started studying engineering. Everyone in the family was proud of her. My other sisters bought her gifts from the money they worked and earned and made up for her shortcomings. They were doing their best just so she could study. I, on the other hand, was a child who was pushed and unaccepted at home. No one was doing anything for me. Even when I told them that I wanted to study at university, they told me that I had to work and create my own opportunities. I had to find a job for that. Also, everyone around me would not talk to me because they knew what a mistake I had made. On the one hand, I turned into a poor girl with no friends and my family turned their backs on me. Envying the life I didn't have was one of the biggest mistakes I made. I explained the situation to Mark many times, that I was just going to wear the necklace and put it back. But he was very upset that I had lied about being rich from the beginning. He was obviously impressed that I was rich. She was no longer able to kiss and make out to her heart's content. Now I have to live my life like a loser with nothing. To cope with all this, I started working as a dishwasher in a restaurant. The disappointment, shame and regret of those years are still with me. Neither luxurious clothes nor jewelry can save me now. I work here and contribute to the household. I have even decided to study for the university exam, but I am so tired at work that I have neither the energy nor the energy to study. It's too late. I won't have any free time to study from now on. I will not be able to find a cultured, educated wife. I made the worst mistake of my life and learned a great lesson. I think to myself how my life turned out like this today when I turned 30. Those youthful ambitions, those mistakes brought me to this point. I have to face my mistakes because I have no other choice. I completely lost the trust of my family. My education was cut short. Mark left me and I ended up working as a dishwasher to survive. Maybe one day I will meet someone I will love too, right? I'll have the money and the time to fulfill my unfinished dreams. In retrospect, I realize once again how valuable it is to do everything on time. With my current mind, I will never pretend to be someone I am not. I will continue my life as who I am and I will not reach out to haram. Perhaps this story should be told as a lesson. Envying what you don't have can lead you to greater losses. Thank you for listening to me. Yes, friends, I shared the life story of one of our listeners, a lady who did not want to share her name. Today she shared with you the lessons she learned from the mistakes she made in her past, and now she is trying to hold on to her new life. Imagine a 30-years-old big woman. Imagine a woman whose whole life is over because of the mistakes she made in the past, who was ostracized by everyone around her. We all make big, irreversible mistakes in our lives from time to time, but isn't that life? Don't we try to be a good person by living and experiencing everything and learning from our mistakes? All of us. I think the lady here has also realized the magnitude of the mistake she made and decided to start her life anew. I wish her success in her new life and I wish her to learn from her mistakes and open a new clean page for herself. I am sure you will also have messages of support for her. Thank you all in advance. If you have confessions you want to share with me, if you have confessions that you have never told anyone, I Lily am here. Please contact me. Stay with love. Goodbye.